All right, got the timer on. I went very long last night. I was supposed to record this video yesterday because the video came out. Yeah, and I'm gonna try and do it again because I originally recorded it. It was not good. So yeah, the guys at Quarter Crew have uploaded another VFX artist react to, and yeah, I'm Saturday. It came out yesterday, so of course I'm gonna have to watch it because I'm always curious to see what the guys down at Quarter Digital or they're their channel Quarter Crew have to say, mostly. And they bring up a lot of interesting guests, and I'm gonna try to make this as quick as possible. I think this is a, if I'm remembering, this is a scene from The Mandalorian. So yeah, hold on.
This is the coolest in the whole world, by the way.
We have a very special guest today.
We are part of the 3D concept team that works in The Mandalorian Season 1 and 2.
Oh,
How many people work on this?
Use one person
Wow.
as best as you can, start to finish. How do you make the shot?
Thanks to Rake
yeah, that's a.
for sponsoring.
Let me just close the door here. So yeah, the Mandalorian. I remembered last time I talked about uh you know the Unreal Engine stuff, like the stagecraft. Like I can't state enough. It's such a great tool, and it's been utilized not just on the Mandalorian, but more recently on the Midnight Sky. That was a pretty good movie in many ways. Like they had some of the best visual effects I've ever seen on screen. Like that one scene in the oxygen chamber was pretty creepy. Yeah. And what else was there? Yeah, and now it's being utilized on. I think they're using it on the Book of Boba Fett and the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, and they're also using it on the Batman. Which, yeah, some reports say that Warner Brothers execs say it's bad. It's Warner Brothers, so I don't trust them anymore after the way they mistreated Zack Snyder. But also another thing, stagecraft is also being used on Thor: Love and Thunder, and it's being shot by the same DP from Thor: Love, who's working on Thor: Love and Thunder, who's worked on The Mandalorian, Barry Bazidion. So yeah, I'll show you that later.
Today's episode. Stick around to the end to find out how you can get 15% off your pair of premium wireless earbuds.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Visual Effects Artists React. I'm very excited because we have a very special guest today. Felix George is on the couch with us today. Can you tell us about your background?
I am the CEO and creative director of Happy Mushroom. Our current focus is in virtual production for environmental design. We are part of the 3D concept team that works in pre-production, designing The Mandalorian Season 1 and 2. I think traditionally people think of virtual production and they think of mocap suits, but we think of environments. We think of
I think of virtual environments too.
photorealistic assets.
Maybe you would just even sum it up as simply like using game engines for your final image.
Yeah,
I'm really
that's
excited to
essentially
hear all
what
your
it is.
insights. So let's
Not
get
really.
started.
Oh, Jungle Book 2016. Still, in my opinion, the best of the Disney live action remakes because it was different enough to the point where it wasn't insulting, and yeah, and this film actually won the Oscar for Best Visual Effects, if I'm not mistaken. Actually, Weta and MPC worked on this. For me, it's still the best of the Disney live action movies, and that was coming out during the time where it was like we had Maleficent, and then we had Cinderella, then we had Jungle Book, then we had Pete's Dragon. Then screw it, I'll even add Beauty and the Beast because I actually like the Beauty and the Beast remake. For me, it's a better remake than Lion King. um, what else was Let's see, and then of course Christopher Robin. Yeah, it was only in 2019 where it started, becoming that weird roller coaster where it was like, yeah, we kind of got Dumbo, but then we sort of got a lot, and then we got Lion King, and then yeah, yeah, just the Disney remakes have been hit or miss for me overall. I mean, I enjoyed Cruella to a certain degree though, but yeah.
So the big predecessor Jon Favreau directed to The Mandalorian was The Jungle Book, and it has a lot of the same technology minus the actual volume stage.
I was heading the environment team for all the pre-production on this, and we had a team of 12 people, 12 environment artists, and we were using Unity still. Okay. So this is a Unity project. One of the major similarities with Jungle Book and The Mandalorian is that we had lighters lighting environments with the DP months prior to the shoot. So he was actually involved with lighting all the sets, so by the time they get to the shoot and he has to influence the shoot and how it has to be lit, he already had all his information.
What's interesting is that Bill Pope was the DP on this, as in Bill Pope, the cinematographer on Army of Darkness, The Matrix, Spider-Man 2, Team America, Scott Pilgrim. There's a lot of films. Bill Pope has actually shot a lot of films, and it's funny. I think right after this movie, and of course there was Baby Driver, but then right after Baby Driver, Bill Pope would return to the sort of virtual CG environment with Alita Battle Angel, which was an awesome movie, by the way. Sad that it did not make enough money, but hey, yeah. Sorry about this. It's not my fault. The internet is necessities of life better. Sorry.
This was a complicated scene because they wanted him to be able to react to the bear.
I do remember seeing a behind-the-scenes shot of this where Mowgli was like sitting on something, and Jon Favreau was.
That is true. I have seen the behind-the-scenes of this movie before. Actually, I can't remember where I put it though. I think it's here. And I have not seen The Jungle Book in a while. I only saw it like last year. And and it's still a great movie in my opinion. And like the CG is still impressive to me in many ways. It was one of those movies that I saw. I was like, oh, I'm not so sure, but then I was like, wow, that ended up actually being great. And I know Doug Walker's going to say the movie is terrible, but when has Doug Walker's opinion ever been valid? It's like 60% of the time, his opinion is invalid every time. And I actually do enjoy watching a lot. The point is, there would be scenes where, like, for example, for reaction shots, they'd have to have Jon Favreau sometimes off camera. I think it was one scene where Shere Khan was attacking Mowgli, and essentially Jon Favreau had to show up from behind the actor who's playing Mowgli, Neil Sethi, and scare him off, and then they would comp it in.
Was actually in the water interacting with them, but then it is all replaced. Also notice how Mowgli's actually sitting on a real bear prop with that wet
that's
fur,
actually
so
what
that
makes
you
it
don't have
impressive.
to really worry about that contact interaction going on between Mowgli's skin and the real fur there.
Have you guys seen
the
other Mowgli movie?
Oh, the Andy Serkis one?
Oh yeah, this one. I was gunning so hard for this movie to be good, I swear to God. I really wanted Mowgli Legend of the Jungle to be very good. But it was a huge disappointment in many ways. And it's not to say I didn't. Alright, look, I'm just going to type it. And I have it here confirmed. Like, I was trying to record this video. Yeah, right here. Andy Serkis filmography. Like, his very first movie that came out, that he directed, yeah, but technically his first movie that he directed was, Breathe, which is, it tells the story of Robin Cavendish, who became paralyzed from the neck down. Yeah, a British advocate for disabled people. It's interesting is that his son, Jonathan Cavendish, is the producer on the movie, and he's actually also a producer on a lot of movies here. Like Bridget Jones, Diary, Elizabeth, The Golden Age, yeah. And, he's also executive producer on Venom Let There Be Carnage. Maybe he's also the second unit director. So, yeah. And, there's actually, Andy Serkis' first collaboration with Robert Richardson. See, production. Yeah. Yeah, I think this was filmed way early on in advance, but yeah. Yeah, Breathe, this movie is really good, and it was a, pretty out of the norm for, uh, Andy Serkis. And then Mowgli, Legend of the Jungle, it was like, I know that, Andy Serkis was trying to tell a more faithful version by, like, actually looking at um, the source material, the Rudyard Kipling books. But sometimes just because a movie is trying so hard to be like the actual books, it does not automatically equal greatness. Case in point, Legend of Tarzan, which I liked, but it shows that, you just can't, just because it's faithful doesn't automatically equal great. I know people are like, "Oh, the Legend of Tarzan was a faithful movie. You don't know what you're talking about." Here's the thing: people don't really care, and plus, no one ever really read the books. But yeah, I feel like with Mowgli: Legend of the Jungle, they were trying to make it faithful, and it was delayed constantly. Um, Nothing I've noticed about the movie is the CG in this, in my opinion, is not good because watch.
The pack needs you, Mowgli.
See,
This one came out shortly.
It kind of came out around the same time.
It was
Yeah.
really close.
2 years after Jungle Book, and that was because Warner Brothers kept pushing it back. With they kept thinking we're gonna release it. I think it was originally supposed to come out in 2017, but they delayed it back to 2018 to October 2018. Then it was September 2018, and then I saw the trailer as like, yeah, the CG in this does not look any good. I'm sorry, I'm trying to be positive, but the movie just doesn't look good in my opinion. Just the CG is off. But yeah, um, I really think the whole thing is what I'm trying to say. And Brain EXE has stopped working. I apologize, but yeah, they kept delaying it, and then Netflix eventually bought the rights, and it was in theaters for like a limited release, but now it's on Netflix. I haven't actually seen it though, so maybe I will when I'm bored.
I speak for the Gulba. We have one.
God, this one, the eyes, though, kill me in this one. They're human
Yeah.
eyes on animals.
Oh,
What is going on there?
that is so weird.
That is
You're right.
Uncanny
It is-
Valley.
It's like it doesn't matter how
That is-
good everything looks because the eye.
Yeah. The thing that made the visual effects in Jungle Book from Jon Favreau work, I don't care if people are gonna say they can throw shit at me in the comments, but here, let's see. Jungle Book 2016. They actually used from what I know, they even though the whole film was very virtual, they actually they worked with Jim Henson's Creature Shop to make the stuff here. Like, look here. Obviously this is supposed to be Bagheera by Mowgli's side here, and they also had built a set here. I think it's because even though, like I'm trying to say, even though there's a lot of CG work in the 2016 Jungle Book movie, they at least learned how to use, actual puppets. So they used puppets to sort of, and some practical effects, for Mowgli to sort of have some, communication, So that way, that's why it doesn't sound like, look at this right here. Obviously, that's going to be Raksha's there. And just like, yeah. And yeah, like, you look at it here, it's a lot better. CG is just, that's why it's better. That's why it's good, is because at least they learn how to use practical. I think the problem is since it's going full motion capture here, that's why the CG does not work. It does not. It doesn't matter. For me, it still looks like it's not even finished yet. It's like clearly they had to rush through the effects. Just saying. And this is also proof of
eyes are like
hard to look away.
Yeah.
It's because I think the animals are actual like motion capture performances from people. So I think they were trying to replicate the emotion behind the eyes in these animals.
Yeah.
That's the eternal problem with trying to do animals that emote. Right?
Yeah.
You gotta,
Although
like,
this
find
one
the
is not
balance
half bad.
between being
Call
able
the
to
Wild
convey
Listener.
emotion that humans understand, aka like facial motions and whatnot, but also still maintain the fact that it's an animal. That was the problem that they had on.
Yeah, this was the huge. This was probably the only film from Jon Favreau I just did not like. This was his first film I did not like, and I know people say Iron Man 2 and Cowboys and Aliens, but yeah, those people. Nah, I don't really side with people that much. Lion King is his first movie that I saw. I was like, damn it, Jon Favreau! I had such faith in you. I had high hopes for you, and I think that was the problem with Lion King was that they were trying to make it as realistic as possible, like with the expressions here. Like they were trying to make it look as real as possible, and it failed so much. It was like it. Yeah, that's a big failure there. In fact, even the film's writer Jeff Nathanson was not enthusiastic about the project. He was like, I didn't care for it. But half of Jeff Nathanson's work, I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure his only good films he's written were The Terminal and Catch Me If You Can. But yeah, that was the thing. Also, Lion King. The thing with Jungle Book was it was different. And like I said, it was different enough to where it wasn't insulting. That was also another problem with Mulan, where it tried so hard to be different from the animated film that it ended up getting, it ended up being more insulting than impressive. Same thing with Planet of the Apes. It tried so hard to be different from the original movie. The Tim Burton movie, I'm not talking about the new ones. I'm talking about the Tim Burton movie. They tried so hard for that movie to be different that it ended up getting stuck under the shadow of the original. Same thing with Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, although that one was trying to be a more faithful adaptation to the book, but it's like the film barely focuses on Charlie, and Charlie is a huge factor in that book. Same thing with Alice in Wonderland. Same thing with everything nowadays. You know, everything is like hard. Sometimes I got to know what Disney's thought process is.
The Lion King movie that Jon Favreau did.
Yeah.
They tried to like give these animals emotion, but also never depart too far from the fact that they are still animals.
I think Jungle Book did a better job than both of them. Jungle Book was
Yeah.
not trying to be super hyper realistic with the faces. I mean, it was
Yeah.
realistic with everything else.
It was
they had
photorealistic,
a
but they had
level of
emotion.
that I enjoyed.
It's very hard to fake light and shadow, and so
Yeah.
everything became about using panels of LEDs to project lights.
So the eventuality of that workflow is manifested in The Mandalorian. And we've talked about Mandalorian before. Awesome show, awesome technology behind it. I feel like we get caught up in the fact that because you have all these high quality screens actually emitting the proper light is like the perfect blend of what it would actually look like. I hadn't really considered the collaboration side of things before even production begins.
You know, on
Yeah.
these projects, we're doing 3D concepts. We're doing all the 3D concepts in Unreal with all the key creatives, and then we pass that over to the ILM team. But by the time we pass it over, all the tools that they would use in real life were there. So like the director had all his lenses, the DP had his actual lights that he would use in real life replicated in Unreal. The production designer had virtual location scouts.
Normally when you go scout a film location, you'll see like a small crowd of people, like a director and a producer and maybe a DP. They're all walking around looking at stuff, taking pictures. But now with virtual production, you can do that with VR headsets.
Yeah.
And that's crazy.
We're working directly with all of them. You're making the movie before you make the movie.
Yeah.
And then by the time you get to making the movie and you're already on production, you can still change it.
You're telling me you design the sets before you film? It's like, wait a second, hold on. That's how you're supposed to do it.
Well, yeah, it's also interesting about previs is that that's how every Marvel movie is now made, is that they previs the movie to see how it works, and I will say previs is I still prefer storyboards for some reason. Something about just drawing it up on a piece of paper is just more impressive than doing it on the computer, and you can even do animated storyboard, but with previs the one thing that is great about previs is that with previs you can see which lenses can work. So that way you can see if a 20 mil is gonna work, or if a 35 mil is gonna work, or if a 50 mil, whatever. It's like, okay,
You design the props, you design the sets, and
yeah,
then you film with them. Versus going,
that's
look,
how it's
we don't have
supposed
a
to go.
costume figured out. Just put these polka dots on your chest and dance on the green screen and
Oh,
figure
I
it out.
remember this. Yeah, I remember hearing about how Ian McKellen at this point wanted to quit acting, nearly wanted to quit acting because the thing about the Hobbit movies were that the difference between Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit is that the Lord of the Rings, it was very technologically impressive when it came out. Obviously, it still is in my opinion, and the thing is, because I think Lord of the Rings was shot mostly on an actual location, here you can tell that they're using more green screen. And I feel like this was the trilogy, in my opinion, is where Peter Jackson kind of went full George Lucas. Because, yeah, and it turns out the only way Peter Jackson could sort of. Okay, I'll say this. Uh, I would say An Unexpected Journey is good. Not great, but good enough. Desolation of Smaug is the best film in the series, obviously. For me, that's the one that comes the closest to the quality of the Lord of the Rings trilogy. And Battle of Five Armies was okay, but it was really not a good movie. And plus, I feel like Peter Jackson wanting to test 60 frames per second, it does not work. It's kind of the reason why no one liked the movie. So, yeah.
Out what the story is, like why you're there later.
Hold on. I'm just gonna pause here. It'll come back. Encoding overload. Yada yada yada. Consider turning down. Alright, there. See? We're back. This is entirely virtual set. I've not actually seen the behind the scenes in a while on Mandalorian.
Just watched this episode and I saw this room. I was just like, it's a set. I had heard about the volume and I was like, oh, each time they're on like a crazy sci-fi mountain, it's like the volume because you can't recreate that. But I look at this and it's like, yeah, you can build a set that looks like that. So I didn't think a single thing of it. And then someone was like, no, that's on one of those stages too. I'm like, what? I was like, you can make that scene in Unreal Engine?
This is the way.
This is the way.
So can you just, as best as you can, start to finish, how do you make the shot?
The first thing that happens is obviously we have a kickoff meeting, and the kickoff meeting is going to have the concept art, the idea, the mood. We collaborate on these worlds together. So the set decorator, the production designer, the VFX.
This is what I'm trying to say essentially is that stagecraft, this is the way. I do hope more studios kind of adopt this method, but of course not every studio wants their movies done by ILM for some reason. It's like, just go to ILM for stagecraft. You can hire another VFX company to do like Weta or Gant or Double Negative or Digital Domain, some other company. Who cares? Just at least think about the stagecraft. And maybe ILM can help you with some effects add-ons, because from what I hear, the Batman is ILM is also working on that film. Although I think Weta is going to be the main VFX vendor. Not sure, but I do know that Dan Lemon, who is the VFX supervisor on the recent two Planet of the Apes films for Matt Reeves, was like, yeah. And Russell Earl, who has actually worked on a lot of films, including Mission Impossible 3, Transformers, Mission Impossible 4, Star Trek '09, Super 8. That the VFX supervisor on like Super 8, Cloverfield Paradox, and even like did some effects on Infinity War and Endgame is actually going to be on the Batman. So that's interesting right there.
VFX supervisor.
I'm going to try and end this video as soon as possible.
The set decorator is building those crates
In a workshop.
in a workshop
With their
physically.
hands.
Yeah.
With their hands, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So they're building stuff physically, and we're over here building things virtually.
So they're building these props, and then kind of the expectation is, cool, you'll bring them to the set and put them on the floor But you're like, hey, we want to reference them in our virtual set first, so you photo scan them, bring them into the virtual set, and then sometimes when you actually hit photography, the real boxes never even make it in.
Oh yeah, sometimes they just stay in the virtual world. And then you have the fact that because it's Unreal, and especially with Unreal Engine 5, hopefully this gets even bigger. On the day, if the DP goes, the box, that crate in the back, that red crate is distracting it, maybe make it a gray crate. He still has that call. He can still do that.
I feel like that's the magic of shooting on a volume, because you get to make those informed decisions of like, all right, now that I'm actually here looking at it, I've kind of changed my mind. I want to lower the camera a little bit. That gives a better angle. I wouldn't have known that until I was here looking at it on set, which you would normally do on a real set. But when you're having to do a green screen set, you don't have that there to inform you.
Yeah. It's kind of like the thing with the prequels. It was shot mostly on green screen.
So he gets in a fight here, right? Like, he gets jumped.
Yeah, essentially.
One of the major things that they wanted to do was the reflection of the guy jumping over his helmet.
I had something.
What? Wait. There it is again.
What? Wait, how the heck do you do that?
We had to do a lot of work in pre-production to see where on the helmet it was going to happen and make sure that the story beat was going to come out appropriately.
See if I can do this quickly.
When you see things like this, just because it's real. Like the reflection is real. That helmet, that shot, it would be so expensive.
That way, if I end the videos, I could just.
So the dirt's real on the ground. We got some mud.
Yes.
But then the rocks, none of the rocks are real. Nothing above
so the first layer of rocks, that is on set. The screen is elevated from the ground, so they put stuff there to hide the screen.
Yeah, this volume stuff is more complicated than I imagined, but it's still better than green.
Those were modeled by a 3D modeler, and then they were remodeled by a physical modeler, a model maker on set, and then they may have even been scanned and brought back into Unreal so that we can match his look. We're basically getting as close as possible to the final product.
The goal here is to be able to hit record on the camera and not have to do anything with that footage after the fact.
Yes.
On a special effects film.
Or series, depending.
Were the LEDs able to do everything, or did you need extra lights?
Absolutely need
extra lights. That is true. Yeah, I think that's what they should also do, is like have extra lights as possible. Also, what's interesting about The Mandalorian was it was shot entirely on anamorphic. And like this scene right here, we see the final shot and there's a lens flare. I'm pretty sure they had a light there to sort of emulate that Panavision flare. This actually, I think, was the first series to shoot with the new Ultra Vista lenses, which I know are also being used on new movies like The Kingsman, Mortal Kombat, Dune, and they're also using the lenses on Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. They're probably the best large format lenses I've ever seen. Based on the show here, like, yeah. Back to the video. So yeah, I'm just saying, especially imagine, shooting the volume with anamorphic lenses given the distortion of anamorphic. And like, yeah, the squeeze I understand, but the distortion must be hard for most VFX artists. But from what I hear, the result is better than shooting spherical.
Additional lighting, he'll just have to be more mindful of how it affects the screens.
Like, let's say he wanted to put a big light over here shooting this way. Would you then have to go in and put that light in the same position in Unreal in the virtual set?
Yeah, there's a couple nighttime scenes where there's some moonlight. They use these China balls, gigantic.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
And so we recreated those China moons in Unreal. And we are placing them exactly where they would be in real life.
Okay.
Like right here. Look at. I'm gonna mute this and probably slow down the frame right here. Plus, yeah, look at it. There's probably some inherent distortion here amongst the lenses. Like, the distortion isn't as obvious as you can imagine. I'm gonna put the 1080p here. Maybe that's why the quality was sucking. All right, now it's a little better. So, right here, just think of the distortion, and then, like, I'm pretty sure they have a light source on set, and then right here, the China light is emulating this right here. This sort of Panavision anamorphic lens flare right there. that's pretty awesome right there. Like, having that light source in. Thinking about, I'm wondering if oftentimes they have to remove the flare and finish some of the background effects, then they put the flare back in. Kind of like they did with JJ Star Trek, because half of the light sources, half of the flares in that movie were actually done by using like giant flashlights, and they kept shining them off camera. And I think they had to kind of remove the flares and then finish the effects and then put the flares back in. So I'm always interested in watching, anamorphic movies and seeing how the VFX artists, how they can handle sort of the aberrations of anamorphic, like the halation, the breathing, the sort of vertical rack focus, and like the distortion. This is why I think anamorphic is better than spherical, is because like it's a very classic format in my opinion. So I'm gonna put back to the full speed here. Recording this for 30 minutes. This is the only video I'm recording today, so yeah.
That way they could go and mimic exactly that on the day.
It definitely speaks to that concept of like, all right, let's conform these elements here. It's like, yes, we're filming a movie that has a lot of CG, but that doesn't
Series.
mean we have
No
to
offense.
disregard all the best practices
Yeah.
for capturing images that we've worked on and created over the last 100 years.
That's what made episode 6 of season 2 so great, was that even though most of the series was shot on the volume, I think the Siege, the 6th episode, I think it's the Siege, or what was the 6th episode? Hold on, I'm gonna look it up here. Mando, season 2, episode 6. What was the name of the episode? The tragedy, actually, the tragedy, not the siege. The tragedy is that they shot completely on location. Especially given like maybe Robert Rodriguez wanted to do something very different, and maybe that's why I'm so excited to see Book of Boba Fett. I want to see how Robert Rodriguez does it. Especially because Robert Rodriguez is like, I did not know how much I needed more Boba Fett in my life until I truly saw the tragedy. Like that episode was awesome. I liked it better than the episode with I liked it better than the episode of the Jedi. Honestly, I know Clone Wars fans are like, "Ooh, Ahsoka Tano," but it's like life is good, Ahsoka Tano, but it can be better, Boba Fett. I like Ahsoka, but come on, Boba Fett is more badass.
Of filmmaking.
Definition of virtual production right there.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's the one I've heard today.
This is the coolest in the whole world, by the way. This is
Yeah.
the coolest.
Coolest shit.
Let's swim it back and forth a bit. Take a left.
So now it's time for the subscribe push. Wait, we're skipping subscribe day.
It's not like leg day.
Yeah, we can skip this day. We don't need to say subscribe every video.
I know what you're trying to do,
So
Ren.
we'd like to take a look at a piece from Ian Hubert. He's a good friend of ours and happens to be a Blender god. A project he's been working on for 3 years has just come out, and it's brilliant. Let's take a look.
Hold on, I gotta pause here for a second. It's because I never know what ads are gonna show up. Okay, maybe it's okay. Back to the video. All right, we're back. Sorry. Yeah. Show you how hard my life is. This laptop even hates me. Yeah, I have to press a button every time. All right, let's start.
This is one of the coolest shots in cinema history. Dude, we're hyping this up. It really is incredible.
Might check this out. Then again, I always say I'm gonna check out everything, and I never check out anything.
This is all siege. Nothing is real.
I mean, she's real.
Except for her,
She is real.
Like, good God.
The light matching that lighting. She looks phenomenal.
And don't forget, she hasn't left the platform that she was standing on the entire time.
This is all done on one tiny stage.
When she walks out of the apartment, there's already a dude standing off to her left, ready to serve her food.
How many people work on this?
It was basically just him, and his girlfriend is the lead actor.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know, it's funny.
Just
It's like
one
you watch
person.
content like this and you're like, oh, it took like 2 years to make it. And it's like, that's cool. It's like, it was one person,
Yeah.
not 200. I don't get it.
I mean, I've seen projects that take 3 years that aren't even close to this. We have movies that have hundreds of people that take 5 years.
I think the biggest thing and why this feels real and why Ian's work works so well is his huge use of photo scans and photograph-based textures, and basically rather than
I just like seeing
inventing a
flare
model from
effects
scratch,
overall.
he uses photos first
this is
and then
awesome too.
turns those photos into models using that original image as its base texture. So everything we're seeing here is photographically based at its core.
Huh.
Here, this shot of the robot, we're following the robot floating down, all CG, all CG, all CG. And then we got a live action plate there in the background, and we're moving up to it, and he's managed to transition flawlessly because he's using a combination of the actual handheld movement of him walking up and blending that with his own extra camera movement to make it even bigger. Watching this just gets me jazzed up. That's why you see how amped we are right now, is because his stuff is that good.
It's just freaking spectacular.
Ian actually kind of got famous off of these short little, he calls them lazy tutorials. They're 1 minute long, and it's basically just Ian being charismatic, teaching people how to use Blender in a very bite-sized way, and it's incredibly entertaining. Oh, wait, Peter, come here.
Is that Peter? Just in time, Peter. So obviously you've seen this piece, right?
I've seen this piece. It came out 2 days ago. I've seen it like 5 times already.
That's awesome. This is my 3rd time watching it as well. No competition or anything, but we're gonna give Ian a call and he's gonna come in and give us some insights on how he made it.
I just sent this video to all my friends today. Like, you need to watch this. This is amazing.
Hey!
What's up, Ian?
Yo, what up, Ian?
How's it going?
Oh, it's going good. You guys are all on the couch.
Yeah.
We are.
How are you feeling?
Oh, man. It feels so good to finally have that thing out there. I'm excited to talk about it. It's been the only thing kind of I've had going for a few years now.
You obviously have been putting out a lot of YouTube videos over the last few years, but what would you say was the percentage of time on a weekly basis that you would spend on this film versus other stuff?
Probably on average 4 hours a day for years. It's hard to know because I flowed a lot of my work making this into tutorials and assets and breakdowns, which I go and I put on like the Patreon or YouTube or something. The making of the thing kind of helped me keep making it. And so I lost all track of time and just kind of went into a crazy work zone.
What would you say was the most challenging aspect of making this entire film?
I mean, the practical stuff for sure. I only do a shoot every 6 months to a year or so. And so every single time it's like, all right, what can we shoot in like an hour? When it comes to filming, there's a lot to be said for building up a headspace and a momentum. It was a really organic process, but again, very, very inefficient.
The guy who runs the market, who lives underground.
Oh, hello. Are you
Flow Merchant 94327111739?
What the heck is going on with the guy's eyeball? Was that real or is that CG?
Well, it's a real head. We wrapped it in Elmer's glue and toilet paper, trying to do like the rotting flesh thing. It didn't work.
Glue and toilet paper. Probably not the strangest thing I've heard of. I don't even want to think about it.
So wait, it's a real head?
Yeah, that's my friend Andy Duprowski.
Oh.
He's a lot, okay.
But we just filmed him like moving his eyeball around, and I froze the rest of the frame, so it's just the one eyeball looking at like the phoneme chart.
It was like the craziest looking, most disturbing thing.
What's next? Like, what are your future visions for where this project can go? Is there an episode 2 in the works?
The biggest goal is figure out how to do whatever I can to make it take less than 3 years, because if my complete output is like 45 minutes per decade, I wanted to make more than that. I'm really trying to figure out whether it's, real-time virtual production stuff or just a lot more emphasis on practical sets, a way to try to keep that same level of world building, but without having to spend.
I'd say do both, honestly, because there's a lot you can do with real-time virtual production, but there's also something about practical effects that's just there that, although I will say, like, for example, if you shoot a huge action scene, I would definitely not shoot it on the virtual set, if I would be honest. If I was, say, shooting an explosion plate, I would rather use green screen sets then. So it would have to be like a sort of combination of, of like practical then the virtual set, and then just green screen for like explosion stuff. Let me pause here quickly for a second. Okay, I'm back. I had to help out my mom very quickly. Yeah, so we're almost at the end of the video, weirdly enough. But my dog is crying in the back. The newest dog.
And years making it all in post.
Virtual production is the way, because then you control the whole vision.
So now the question is, when are you going to come visit us so that you could be sitting here on the couch as well?
As soon as possible.
It's so impressive and beautiful.
Yeah.
Thanks for making it, man, and thanks for sharing it with everyone.
Thanks for having me on. Good to see you guys.
Take care, man. See ya.
Yeah.
Peace. Guys, I've got the beat in my head because today's episode sponsor is Raycon earbuds, one of my favorite sponsors.
Wow, look,
this
an
channel.
ad just shows up in the middle of. Okay, Grammarly, I'll let this.
Grammarly does more than catch errors. With Grammarly, you can find really good.
Yeah. It's an irony. I got 3 ads in this.
Effin' champions. Raycons have all of the bells and whistles that you would expect from any other premium wireless audio solution. And they have 6 hours of playtime. They have a rechargeable carrying case that you can easily slide into your pocket and take with you and recharge your earbuds when you're on the go. They have more bass. I think they have a better, more compact design that's sleeker, it's more stylish, and of course it creates a nice noise isolating fit whenever you're wearing them. They have a variety of fun colors.
I've never had
Maybe
Raycons
your favorite
before.
color is red. Okay, well guess what? They got red ones. Pretty sweet. And they do all of this without any dangling stems or wires. This is because they focus on the customer experience first from start to finish.
No
So
offense.
anyways, if you guys are interested,
I wish I
head on
could. I
over
just,
to buyraycon.com/corridorcrew and you can get 15% off your purchase. They're a great earbud to include in your daily routine, and I'm super glad that they continually sponsor this show. Just wanted to let you guys know, once again, don't go out and buy them on your own. Use the link in the description below and get that 15% off. And anyways, tell your friends. I don't know. Watch the rest of the episode. I don't know where we go from here. Nick's gonna make that call. I don't make those kind of calls.
It just ends.
But anyways, well, see you later.
Felix, thank you so much for coming on, man. I really appreciate it. It was fun having you here.
This was super fun.
Where
That was
can
fun
we
as
find
well.
more information about your company?
If you'd like to learn more, just go to happymushroom.com. That's it.
All right, easy, super easy.
Thank you for sharing these stories and like your insight and how all this stuff is being put together, because we're all super jazzed about it too.
Guys, thank you for having me.
Oh, also, thank you for the premiere tickets to the next Star Wars film. I really appreciate that.
Totally,
Yeah.
I'll let you know.
They're just
my
they're
God.
joking right there. Yeah, that was fun though. That was really fun. Getting to see more about the. I love it when more people are talking about stagecraft, because I know some people have often like. I'm hoping Marvel starts to do it, because I'm gonna type it again here. Cinematic Universe Phase 4. Because, like I said, I do know that Thor: Love and Thunder is using the same technology, the stagecraft technology, but it's more improved, I think, in many ways. They're like, because stagecraft was kind of like, yeah, here's a cool thing, and I think they're gonna try and push some boundaries there, because yeah, from what I know, Eternals was shot way before the pandemic occurred. Yeah, by early yada yada. Yeah, from July 2019 to February 2020, and it was shot more on location than most MCU films, from what I understand. And Thor: Love and Thunder is using the same stagecraft technology, which is good enough for me. I'm glad that more people are using this technology. Like some certain filmmakers are using it. Right here. Industrial Light and Magic provided the same stagecraft virtual technology used on the Disney Plus Star Wars series, The Mandalorian, which they creating a custom volume space at Fox Studios Australia. The space features more LED panels and offers a higher resolution than the original one created for Mandalorian. Oh, okay. There were 4 Bazidion. Yeah, right there. Barry Bazidion. I'll show you here some of his filmography. Yeah, Barry Bazidioni. This guy right here in the glasses. Show you what he looks like, sort of. Yeah, little chipped tooth there. Click here. on IMDb. And also, what's interesting is that the film's editor, the editor of Thor: Love and Thunder, Marianne Brandon, is an American and television and film editor. She's a frequent collaborator of director J.J. Yeah, she actually, she was nominated for Best Film Editing on Star Wars: The Force Awakens for her work on the film, sharing the nomination with. Yeah, I'm looking at some of her films here. A partial filmography. Alias, Mission Impossible 3, Jane Austen, Book Club. Start How to Train Your Dragon, Super 8, Kung Fu Panda 2, Passengers, The Darkest Minds, Rise of Skywalker, and Love and Thunder, which is interesting because, yeah. So that's awesome. And it looks like Taika Waititi is involved completely in writing the screenplay. And, let's see, Jennifer Caden Robinson is the co-writer on this. American actress, director, producer, and writer. She created and produced the MTV show Sweet Vicious, and wrote the film Someone Great. I've never heard of this movie. There's so many movies I've not heard of. Unpregnant. I'm telling you, I'm looking up a lot of stuff about Thor: Love and Thunder now. But hey, Stagecraft reminded me of that. Yeah, won a Primetime Emmy for cinematography. Like, but look at all of Azadion's work here. So let's see. Additional photography on Vice. Second unit DP on Rogue One. American Sniper. The Master. Additional photographer on The Bourne Legacy. And he's mostly got work as an assistant camera. Like on Mission Impossible. He was a frequent collaborator from what I see here of Robert Elswit. So yeah. I mean, hey. That's just awesome right there. Someone Great. I've never heard of this film. Apparently it's got an 82 on Rotten Tomatoes. As far as IMDb goes, I don't know for sure. Unpregnant. Yeah. Positive reviews. And yeah, so, okay. That's good enough there. Yeah. So yeah, that looks pretty good. So yeah. And if I remember correctly, I think maybe even Doctor Strange and the multi. I'm looking up the Marvel Cinematic Universe again. Phase 4 Eternals, Love and Thunder, Doctor Strange, and Multiverse of Madness. I'm thinking in the Multiverse of Madness was shot also as well, mostly on location, filming. John Matheson serves as cinematographer. Later that month, returned as Palmer shortly for. Yeah, so it looks like some preferred camera techniques. It's going to be more bonkers from what I know. So yeah, wondering if they're also using stagecraft. I'm looking up Industrial Light and Magic twice actually. Industrial Light and Magic, ILM.com. So yeah, let's look up the wiki right here because even though the Wikipedia page has not been updated in a while, VFX Productions, Industrial Light and Magic. So yeah, let's see here. Yeah, Ultraman, Jurassic World Dominion, Love and Thunder, obviously the Batman as well. And Obi-Wan Kenobi and Book of Boba Fett. So yeah, a lot of good things coming out, thank God. Yeah. These are the only confirmed ones so far. Like, Underground Railroad, which I still have to finish the series. Why have I stopped watching? Oh, right, because I still have to finish The Sopranos. Yeah, I'm not on. So, yeah, Unreal Engine, Mandalorian. I'm looking at it here. Yeah. You know, as well, like I mentioned, the technology was used on Midnight Sky, which was pretty good, by the way. It looks like they're doing all the Disney Plus series. Maybe they will use it. I don't know for sure. Mission Impossible 7. Yeah. I don't know. Now it's been slightly updated here. So, yeah. We're going to look at the time we got here. Stopwatch. We've been on this for 45 minutes, so I've already left a like on the video. So let's see what happens when I put on the comments. This is the only video I'm recording for today. It was nice to see Ian Hubert. Let me look up and see if this guy's an IMDb. Because from what I saw, that guy must be talented. Ian Hubert. Yeah. Oh, look, IMDb. Nice that he has his own IMDb page. That's great. Why does Ian feel like a character, like he's a character played by Ren? Not really. I don't know for sure. Who knows? So yeah, that's all I have for today. Dynamo and Dynamo Dream. Yeah. All right, I'm going to end the video here. So I will leave a link to the original video down below in the comments, as well as a link to Corridor Crew. They have 4.89 million subscribers. Almost close to 8. Just 11 million more, and they'll reach, no, just 11 more to 5. 5. And they'll finally reach that milestone. So I'll also leave a link to the channel there as well. Go consider subscribing to them. Look, I'm already subscribed to them. I already hit that bell so I can stay notified about their videos. So that's awesome right there. And I'll also leave a link to my Instagram page down below. So thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you do subscribe, hit that bell to stay notified. And yeah, gonna end the video here. So I'm gonna wish you all Godspeed. Take care.